With a honed Zen and Tantric lens that is accompanied by the wisdom of indigenous spirituality, we dive deep into current events and cultural happenings to bear hug spaciousness and hope, and to kill the Buddha on the road. Our host, Carlos Molina Gaylord, is an art historian, mystic, educator and writer, visual and music arts geek, and husband. He's awake, and he's got a lot on his mind. This is Inside My Big Dharma Head.
Hi, welcome to the show. So glad you're with us. If you like the program and don't want to miss an episode, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, please take a moment to leave feedback in the comments area from wherever you are downloading or listening to this podcast. It really does help spread awareness of our program. So thank you all in advance. And to all my Dharma teachers and friends, thank you so much for your light and wisdom. You make this possible. So, the most brilliant people I know are women, and they're the best educators because their wisdom is unsurpassed. A lot of us already know this, but a lot of us don't. And friends, if you're in the category without wise women Dharma teachers and friends, I'm sorry to tell you, but your wisdom education is only half full. A solid women's wisdom foundation in your Dharma learning will uncontain and expand your primordial wisdom and heart to new frontiers. It's truly the missing piece of the awakening puzzle. This is fact. I truly believe that the Dharma wheel's next brilliant revolution or turn will come by the brilliant minds and hearts of women. And you know what? That time is now. So, there are a lot of reasons why women and women's wisdom is missing in Dharma. Let's take a look at 6 reasons. Number 1, lineage is male-dominated, so women's voices and women's point of view have no support ground. In other words, a truly supportive and open platform and culture doesn't really exist for women and women's wisdom. So no matter what they bring to the table, it just can't gain legitimate traction or credence. And even if women or women's wisdom does rise to the challenge, its voice and point of view is often looked at as not having the same quality of the dominant culture in charge. In other words, women's voices and women's point of view are seen as without the same quality. Our second reason why women and women's wisdom is missing in Dharma is, oftentimes a tradition's language and culture is simply void of women's linguistic nuance. So without this living nuance, traditions simply lose the taste and hunger for women's brilliancy. So, in other words, male-dominated traditions literally sound different without the mind or sensibility of women and women's wisdom. So when this living voice is extinct or minor in a tradition, it can't lend its living and fresh nuance. So what literally appears is a tradition that is built on only half of primordial wisdom's artistry. Number 3. Mainstream approaches, usually male, powerfully discredit women and women's wisdom schools as having no legitimate place in realization. In other words, the brilliant and artistic genuine voice and body of women and women's wisdom doesn't exist in the mainstream. And sadly, oftentimes these mainstream traditions don't even offer legitimate praise to the brilliant women Dharma teachers that pushed them off the cliff into radical realization in the first place. Our fourth reason why women and women's wisdom is missing in Dharma is women are simply not actively seeking students because the radical approach is too advanced. Simply put, they ultimately require only the most serious students, and those are few and far between. Number 5. Women teachers and women wisdom teachers typically are anonymous and usually teach outside of sanctified or certifiable schools, so finding one is extremely difficult. Our sixth reason on why women and women's wisdom is missing in Dharma is the dominant culture of a tradition simply doesn't see women as equals. So the real need to value women and women's wisdom is almost non-existent. Friends, I love my Dharma so much. And it is because of my devout love for Dharma is why I bring this issue to the table. So yes, Dharma has a women and women's wisdom problem. Thankfully, a lot of us are seriously transforming this most serious issue today. So come join us in learning and community. Together we transform our world for the better. Let this be our vow, for the benefit of each of all, and for the benefit and protection of fundamental wakefulness. So friends, primordial wisdom isn't only encapsulated by men. This is good news. Primordial wisdom's total living essence is embodied by women, men's, and trans Buddhas and Bodhisattvas equally, because they are each the living equality of wisdom itself. And that is how and why they masterfully teach and pass on the Dharma seal. This is absolutely the most exciting time to learn Dharma. Can you feel it? I know you can. So as always, do your best and follow your heart. And keep a lookout. The open and free Buddha mind is always calling. Can you hear her? Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and WordPress at Big Dharma Head. You can find a transcript of this episode on WordPress in the Episodes tab. And any questions you have, including ones about support, submissions, and sponsorship, please send them to bigdharmahead@gmail.com. We'd also love to hear your ideas on possible future shows and how we can make the program better for you. Until next time, in your learning, always choose the open and brilliant Buddha mind. She's ready.